Welcome to my channel. My name is Rhea and today we're going to talk about the new moon that is happening in the sign of Aries on 21st March 2023. So let's get started. Now, a new moon is when the sun and the moon conjunct. This right here is the new moon. The moon and the sun are together and this brings in new energy, new beginnings. And we work on this new beginning, new energy for the entire lunar month for the next 28 days or so. So that's what a new moon is: a starting point, a seeding point, a beginning point. And this new moon is in the sign of Aries. Aries is right here. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It's all about beginnings. It's all about initiations. It's all about starting things. It's about new ideas. It's about new initiatives. A lot of new when we think about Aries. So these themes on a collective level, on a global level, and even in our personal lives can be highlighted. A lot of new beginnings, a lot of new starts, a lot of new ideas maybe. So that's the basic theme that this new moon is touching upon. And if you look at the chart, there's a lot of Aries. Aries is very highlighted on this moon, and while Aries has a lot of positives, taking action, moving forward, getting things done, going after what you want, new starts, new ideas, we must be mindful of the not so positive manifestation of Aries as well, because there is a lot of Aries on this moon. And the not so positive manifestation of Aries is anger, is frustration, is being aggressive. So these are the not so positive manifestations. Aries is also a very competitive sign. Aries likes to start things, right? Aries is the first time great at starting things, but Aries may not think things through completely. And I'm not saying if you're Aries, you're all these things. I'm just saying Aries energy can manifest like this. So what we need to watch out for on this moon is maybe getting aggressive, maybe getting impulsive, maybe not thinking things through in whatever we are starting or initiating. We must think things through. We must think of the consequences, and we must keep our anger, aggression, competitiveness in check on this moon, if there is any. It's not necessary that there will be a negative manifestation. So those are the basic themes, and now I am going to talk about the aspects that are going on, because the aspects will color the energy of this moon in a way. Now, the most important aspect this moon is making, actually there are few of them. One of the important aspects this moon is making is a conjunction to Neptune. This is Neptune, and yes, it is in Pisces, and this moon is in Aries, and there is a 5-degree orb, but still it is conjunct. And Neptune is the planet of our dreams. It's the planet of spirituality. It's the planet of creativity as well, on the positive. But on the not so positive side, Neptune can bring confusion. It can bring deception. It can bring illusions. It can also bring this feeling of feeling lethargic. It can bring a feeling of, I don't feel like it. I don't feel like I have the energy, or I don't know what to do. I'm so confused. So while there's this abundance of Aries saying start, initiate, move forward, Neptune is right there that can bring some confusion. So we might be a little confused at this point about how to start, what to begin, how to begin things. We might also feel like, yeah, I can start this thing, but I don't feel like it. I feel a little tired. So we must be aware of these things on the positive. Neptune is a very spiritual planet. It aligns us with our higher purpose, with our spirituality. So if we are feeling confused, maybe asking the question, does this align with me? Does this align with my path? Is this feeling spiritually comfortable for me? Might help deal with the confusion. So that's the first aspect. The second aspect I want to speak about is the fact that this moon is squaring Mars, 90-degree angle. And Mars here rules the sign of Aries. And a lot has been going on with Mars over the past few months. So I'll talk a little bit about that, and then we'll talk about this aspect. So October end, Mars started to retrograde. Retrograde means from the Earth's perspective, Mars started to appear to move backwards. So it went backwards, and this happened till Jan 12th, and then it started moving forward again. And now on March 12th, a few days ago, it finally exited the zone it retrograded over. It retrograded over 8 to 24 degrees of Gemini. And now you can see it's at 28 degrees of Gemini. And what that means is from October to say March 12th, we did a lot of review. Now, what did we review? This is going to vary from person to person. On a personal level, if you know your charts, look for the sign of Gemini 8 to 24 degrees, whichever house it falls in. That's the area of your life that came under review with Mars retrograde. If you don't know your chart, think about where you've dedicated a lot of your energy. Is it your work? Is it your job? Is it your health? Is it your marriage? Is it something else? And think about how that thing in your life has altered or changed how you've reviewed it, how you've moved forward. So what I'm trying to say is that review process of 8 to 24 degrees of Gemini, if you know your charts, or where you've put in a lot of your energy over the past few months, is complete. Mars has moved on. So this also means that Mars now will bring up new things. It's done with what it was bringing up for the past few months. And on a collective level, Gemini is the sign of communication. It's anything to do with communication, listening, watching things, consuming information, all social media, all these things are Gemini ruled. So in many ways, Mars over the course of the past few months highlighted these themes in a big way. Gemini is also associated with the years from 2020 to 2022 beginning, because that's where the North Node Rahu was, highlighting Gemini themes, and Mars going over that area meant it brought up those themes in a big way over the past 6 months or so. So that's Mars, and now it is making an angle with this moon in a sign that it rules. What this means to me is, first of all, a square represents the need for change. It represents friction. It represents a pressure point. And usually when there's friction, when there's a pressure point, the goal is to change. So that's what a square represents. And with Mars here, there's a need to maybe take action and move forward. Mars here is the planet of taking action and moving forward because it rules Aries. On the not so positive, since it is a pressure point, since it is a point of friction, what we need to watch out for is anger, frustration, aggression, not thinking things through, being impulsive, Mars. So perhaps making the change, taking the action can help us deal with this energy. But like I said, think things through. Aries energy can be super impulsive. Think things through before getting to what you need to do. Now, the next important aspect that's going on is a sextile to Pluto. Pluto here is the planet of transformation, and Pluto is very important right now, so is Saturn, and I'll explain why in a moment. But this is a positive aspect, 60-degree angle, and Pluto represents transformation. It represents endings, beginnings, rebirth, death, that sort of thing, essentially transformation. And this beginning is a transformative one. It's beginning something new, it's ending something old, it's transforming something in a big way with its sextile to Pluto. And Pluto is very important right now because 2 days after this moon, Pluto will exit the sign of Capricorn, where it has been for the past 15 years since 2008, and enter the sign of Aquarius on March 23rd. So it is very important because it's a very slow planet and it's changing signs, which means themes will shift. How will themes shift? Capricorn themes. Capricorn is the sign associated with businesses, governments, businesses that are really big, governments, the highest of the high, authorities, people in power. That sort of thing is associated with Capricorn. And since 2008, Pluto has been subtly working on this, bringing up these themes. And these themes are still here to stay because Pluto will not fully enter the sign of Aquarius till next end of next year. So what that means is Capricorn themes will still continue to a certain extent, but Aquarian themes will begin to be highlighted. That being said, we are no strangers to Aquarian themes. For the past 2.5 years since 2020, Saturn was in the sign of Aquarius, and on March 7th, a few days ago, it entered the sign of Pisces. So March is a very important month because two heavy energies, two big energies Saturn has changed signs, Pluto will change signs. And we are no strangers because Saturn was in Aquarius. So we felt those themes. Aquarian themes are themes associated with science, tech, innovation, progress, equality, rebellion, information, also to do with social isolation. So yes, these themes will continue, but perhaps the way they manifest might shift a little bit. And that's because Saturn is very tangible, it's very visible, it's very material. Whereas Pluto is more hidden, it's deep, it's subtle, it's subconscious, it's slow. So these Aquarian themes are here to stay, and perhaps the manifestation of those themes might start to change. Another thing with Pluto changing signs and Saturn changing signs and themes shifting is that this is a powerful beginning, yes. Also, if we look at the last new moon, which happened on Feb 20th, that was the new moon in Pisces, which was a lot about endings. So the theme of beginnings and endings and themes shifting is very prominent right now. I just wanted to mention that. Now, let me see if there's anything I missed out on. And yes, there is. What I want to say is that the 0 degrees of Aquarius spot is a very important spot. It's a very important spot because in 2020, Saturn and Jupiter conjuncted. After 20 years, they conjunct once in 20 years. So after 20 years, Saturn and Jupiter met up in the sign of Aquarius at 0 degrees. And this is where Pluto is going to be 2 days from now, activating this point. And what this means is, think of your life December 2020, 21st December 2020 to be exact. What themes began then? What themes ended then? Because Pluto is going to activate that spot all the way up to next year till it finally enters the sign of Aquarius. So this is an activation point of the energy that began, and when there's a beginning, there's always an ending, and the energy that ended December 21st, 2020. So you can think back to your life, maybe certain things might start activating themselves now. Maybe certain themes might start to become more tangible now with Pluto on this spot. So that's what I wanted to say about Pluto. And the next thing I want to talk about is the fact that Saturn here has also recently changed signs. And I want to stress on this because it's a very recent thing, March 7th, so about 2 weeks ago. And Saturn, like I said, is very tangible, it's very visible, it brings up themes in a very material way. And over the course of the past 2.5 years, it's brought up Aquarian themes: science, tech, innovation, progress, rebellion, astrology, social isolation, all these themes. And now it has entered the sign of Pisces and will be here for the next 2.5-3 years. Pisces is the complete end of the zodiac. It's the last sign. So what Saturn here can do is bring about a lot of themes closing out fully, themes that have been on for decades, because Saturn was here in Pisces over 2 decades ago. So major themes can be coming to a close with Saturn in Pisces. That's one big theme. Pisces is also associated with the subconscious. It's associated with what's hidden in our minds, the subconscious. It's associated with mental health. It's also associated with the healthcare system in a big way. So with Saturn here, these themes of closing out certain things in our lives and globally, mental health, the subconscious mind, also healthcare system. These are the big themes that Saturn here can bring to the focus, bring to the forefront over the course of the next 2.5, 3 years. Now, if you see, Neptune is also in the sign of Pisces and Saturn is here, and they will meet up. They will meet up at 0 degrees of Aries in 2025 into 2026, around that time. And as I mentioned, 0 degrees of Aries is an absolute beginning. So when they conjunct there, that to me represents an energy that can be associated with beginnings. But till then, a lot of closing outs can happen with Saturn here. So that is Saturn, and I think we've covered mostly everything. We've covered Pluto, Saturn, Mars, the Moon, Neptune. What I want to talk about is the Chiron-Jupiter conjunction. Now, this has been going on for a little while, and Chiron here brings up our pain. It's the planet of healing, yes, but it heals us in a bittersweet way. It's like you have to face the pain, you have to come to terms with your own inner being, and then you get the healing. And the healing comes from within. So yes, it's a healing energy, but it's a healing that might not feel the best when it's happening. And Jupiter is a magnifier. Yes, it's a benefic. Yes, it brings gifts. Yes, it brings lessons, but most importantly, it magnifies things. And for a few days now, it has been magnifying Chiron. This feeling of maybe feeling a little wounded, maybe feeling like I'm not good enough, maybe our insecurities are coming to the surface. But the goal is to heal. The goal is not to let them get the better of us. And with so much energy to start, we really don't want to go down that route of I'm not good enough, I can't do this, I feel lethargic, I feel angry, I feel frustrated. It's best to talk ourselves through those feelings so that we are able to take those decisions to move forward while thinking of the long run and the consequences. And there is something else that I wanted to mention, which I will mention now, regarding Pluto and Saturn, because they are the most important right now. Yes, this is a new moon video, but what is superseding everything is the fact that these two planets are shifting, and shifting so close to each other, almost 2 weeks apart, right? A little more, but so close to each other. So with Pluto, I want to talk about the fact that it is squaring the nodes. It's not exact yet. The square will come exact July of this year. And this is the north node Rahu. And this is the south node Ketu. Now, these are karmic points. They are the nodes of the moon. And they bring up destiny. They're destiny points, I would say. And in a square to Pluto, Pluto is magnified. Pluto is the planet of transformation, like I said. So transformation is highlighted in a big way. And somehow there's this role of destiny at play because of Rahu and Ketu being involved. Another thing I want to talk about regarding Rahu and Ketu is that last year, if you recall, around April, Saturn was squaring the nodes as Pluto is now. But now it is sextiling Rahu and trining Ketu. Sextiling the north node and trining the south node. And these are positive aspects. And Saturn here, yes, it can bring restrictions and limitations. And last year, that's what we felt because it was so highlighted. But now it's a positive aspect. While Saturn is restrictions and limitations, it's also the planet of hard work, decisions, discipline, perseverance, doing something with a long-term vision in mind, doing something in a very planned, organized, systematic, structured manner. So that energy is there with us. We can really think of the long run right now, and we should, because there's so much Aries. Aries does not like to think of the long run. So I know because I have an Aries moon, but what balances it out for me is that I have a lot of Capricorn. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. So that thing of thinking a little long run is still there. So it balances out my Aries. But I understand how impulsive Aries energy can be. So coming back to this, using our perseverance, being disciplined, being dedicated, thinking of the long run can help us, can really help us deal with this abundance of Aries. Now, one or two more things that I want to touch upon. So the next thing I want to talk about is that look at the chart. Look at the amount of Aries. So I'm not going to say what Aries is because I've said it so many times, but look at the chart. There's a lot of it. So just be mindful of the negative manifestation of Aries, anger, aggression, competitiveness, so on and so forth. And there's Taurus too. Rahu, the North Node, is in Taurus, Uranus is there, and now Venus is there too. Venus rules the sign of Taurus. Rahu, the North Node, has been in the sign of Taurus since Jan of 2022. And Rahu, yes, it's the future, it's where we're supposed to go, but Rahu is a magnifier. And it's been magnifying Taurus. And Uranus is there too. Uranus is the planet of change, immense change. It's been here for good since 2019. And with these two energies here, there is change associated with Taurus, and it is also magnified. Taurus is the sign of economies, food resources, what comes from the ground, it's the earth. So all these themes have currencies. All these themes are Taurian themes, and they have been highlighted with Rahu there, and they are undergoing a change with Uranus there. So I just thought I'd mention that. And a little while ago, there was an abundance of a lot of Taurus and concentrated energy in this part of the chart. And if you look, that's back again. So much Aries, so much Taurus. Rest of the chart is pretty empty. Mars is Gemini. It's going to enter Cancer on March 25th, I believe. So a lot of concentrated focus on Arian themes and Taurian themes. So I think that sums up the video, and to close it out, I would just like to say that this is an important beginning point. It is one of the beginning points. As we go through Saturn and Pisces, we will probably be doing a lot of closeouts, and with closeouts come new beginnings. So this is an important beginning point. It's a transformative moon in the sense that it is in a sextile to Pluto, with Saturn and Pluto changing signs. There is a theme shift, but old themes are still going to stay, especially Aquarian themes. This is also an activation point. On March 23rd, it will be an activation point with Pluto entering the sign of Aquarius. What we need to watch out for is maybe being too impulsive, being too aggressive, not thinking things through. So I hope you enjoyed this video and it was useful in some way, and I will see you next time. Have a great day. Bye.